Welcome to Spiedel's California Minute. I'm your host, Catherine Zidane, and this week we're covering some FAQs regarding like-kind exchanges and filing California Form 3840. For any tax compliance professionals, one of our Cerify partners, the Association of Certified Financial Crime Specialists, will be hosting a crypto compliance symposium on July 21st in San Francisco. If you have questions about the future of crypto, attend this symposium for expert guidance. For more information, go to cryptocompliancesymposium.com. All taxpayers are required to file Form FTB 3840 California like-kind exchanges if they exchange a California property for non-California property in a tax-deferred IRC Section 1031 exchange. The return is required to be filed in the year of the exchange and every year thereafter until the deferred tax is paid. Every year, tax professionals post dozens of questions on our message board concerning when a Form 3840 has to be filed and who has to file it. We've put together a list of FAQs that we hope will address many of these questions. First, when does the form need to be filed? Form 3840 has to be filed in the year the like-kind exchange occurs and every year thereafter for as long as the gain or loss is deferred and continues until the property has been disposed of in a fully taxable transaction. The property is transferred through inheritance, eliminating the deferred California source gain or loss, or the replacement property is donated to a nonprofit organization. Does Form 3840 have to be filed if the taxpayer is not required to file a California tax return? Yes, if a taxpayer doesn't file a California return, the taxpayer has to file Form 3840 separately as a California information return. The due date is the same due date that would apply if the property owner would have been required to file a California return. The Form 3840 should be signed and mailed to the address included in the form instructions. Does a taxpayer who converts an out-of-state replacement rental property to personal use still have to file the form? Yes, a conversion to personal use is not considered a disposition in a fully taxable transaction. The taxpayer will continue to file Form 3840 until one of the events listed in the first question occurs. Another question we get a lot is, who is responsible for filing the form? Knowing which parties are required to file Form 3840 will help forgetting to file it. For multiple owners, each owner will complete Form 3840 to report their proportionate share of the gain in the year of the sale and subsequent years. If the property is owned by a pass-through entity, only the entity will file the Form 3840. If the entity liquidates and the property is passed to the owners, the filing requirement passes to the partners or members or shareholders who now own the property. If the property is owned by a single-member LLC, the taxpayer files Form 3840 with the individual return. And if the owner of the property dies and the property has a fully stepped-up basis, there's no gain to report. In this situation, you file a final Form 3840 stating that the owner is deceased and the property was transferred to a beneficiary. And last, how should Form 3840 be completed if a taxpayer exchanges the replacement property for another property in a subsequent like-kind exchange? If an out-of-state replacement property is later exchanged for another property as part of a tax-deferred exchange, the taxpayer is still required to file Form 3840 because the gain or loss deferral continues. When the taxpayer does a second exchange and relinquishes out-of-state property number 1 for out-of-state property number 2, the taxpayer will file a final Form 3840 for the first exchange and also file an initial Form 3840 to track the new exchange. We'll discuss this and other real estate issues at the 2022 Summer Tax webinars that start in July. For a full list of topics and available dates, go to caltax.com under the Webinars tab. That's all for this week. Join us next time for another episode of Spiedel's California Minute.